Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Week 18 slate. All right, this is the final week of the regular season. Things are going to be wacky and wild. Please pay attention to all news regarding football. Okay, pay attention to any little single piece of news. Okay. All right, everything is crucial. A lot of ins and outs. Some teams are already set for the playoffs. Some teams are going to play half the game. Some teams are going to not show up. There's going to be a lot of factors going in for this Week 18, but I'm going to help you through that process. All right, guys, before we deep dive into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. And guys, if you're already viewing this and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Let's get past this 700 subscribership. Currently at 696. The next goal is 1K so I can do the giveaway. All right. And also sign up for the Patreon. The Patreon is right here. You're getting daily DFS lineups on that, including betting. Any type of questions you have, I'm there to help you with. You don't get that with any other subscription. You get an article and that's it. If you have any questions, there's no one there for you. There's no support. All right. Anything to bounce ideas off of. All right. It's not there. So now let's get into this Week 18 slate. We have 13 games here. Starting off with the QB position. All right. We do have some teams that are trying to fight for their current position, not trying to lose a spot. All right. They're not 100% locked into everything in the playoffs. We're going to start off with Josh Allen. Josh Allen going up against the New York Jets. In division rival right here. The previous matchup against the Jets, he had 24 fantasy points. Usually you get a better game out of his rushing ability. That was a shock. He only had 3 yards. Now this is home. They want to solidify everything. They do have a couple teams on their heels. So it is very imperative for Josh Allen to come out. It could take only one half. All right. That's the gamble with Week 18. Week 18 is a total flip of the coin, but I still see value in playing Josh Allen. I like him at 8,100. He's not going to be my main quarterback. I have someone else. Aaron Rodgers, they're already locked in. I'm not going to go that route with Green Bay. Even if he plays, they could be half a game, a half the quarter, half a half. I'm not going there. Okay, you could take that risk. They already locked in the number 1 spot. There's no reason for them to play. Okay. Next will be Tom Brady. Tom Brady still has something to play for. I think he's a great option going against Carolina. A lot of people are going to go away from this, but they are still putting up numbers. Phenomenal performance against the Jets in the comeback performance. 30 fantasy points, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And the benefit of Tom Brady right now is going to be the fact that there's a funnel offense with all the big weapons out. It leaves a few key guys that are going to get a ton of targets. Tom Brady should be a decent play for Week 18. If we're looking at standings, just to double check this right here, we still have the battle between. They can still take the number 2 spot, which I know they really want. All they need is a Seattle win. The Rams will move down. Tampa Bay wins. Then they'll move up. Everything is fine right there. Also, if they lose, they still have the Dallas Cowboys and Arizona Cardinals on their heels. Okay, so that's why we want to go with Tom Brady. Still have something to play for. Let's speed this up a little bit, okay? Let's continue to go down. Kyler Murray is still in a spot. Like I said, they can move up to that number 2. That's still a possibility. Joe Burrow is going to be out, so there's going to be a backup QB there. We're not going to go that route. Cleveland is a solid defense. That's just going to be a very ugly game. So let me throw in Tom Brady as one of our main plays. Let's continue down on the QB position. Matt Stafford going up against the 49ers. This is a juicy game here. Stafford and the 49ers both have something to play for. Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are right next to each other. And also the 49ers are trying to fight to stay in the playoffs, okay? They have Jimmy Garoppolo. He should be a full go. Trey Lance goes back to the bench, so we don't get that value play for this week unless something else happens, some type of weird news comes out. Another guy we're going to be looking at will be Russell Wilson. Strong performance in his final game in Seattle. Now going against the Arizona Cardinals. I think he goes out with a little bit of a bang. Also, he's trying to sell himself for another team as well. Okay, be mindful of that. Taysom Hill, he had a very strong stretch in week 13 and week 14. Came back against Carolina, still very good. One throwing TD and chipped in with 45 rushing yards. The upside is very good for Taysom Hill. He provides a dual threat ability, and that's what you want. So the dual threat QBs, Taysom Hill is definitely one. So I like him at 6,200. And the next guy we're going to be looking at will be Huntley for the Baltimore Ravens. They got Lamar Jackson Jr. right here. He had a very good game against Green Bay. We're looking at him because Pittsburgh struggles against the run. Pittsburgh struggles against the pass as well. And this is an individual matchup. Tyler Huntley is a dual threat quarterback, can throw it just as well as he can run it. We're really keying in on him because of the rushing upside. If we get a game similar to Week 15 against Green Bay where he had 35 fantasy points, this 5,700 price is an absolute steal. Other than that, it's been somewhat in the middle. This is why it's more of a riskier play. But definitely he has the upside and the weapons to definitely have a very good game. Let's see if we can find another gem for you. I have one more guy for you if we just continue to go on down. And we're going to take advantage of this poor New York Giants defense all around, across the board. Taylor Heinicke is very volatile, but has some boom weeks. Okay, if we just continue to go down, 23 fantasy points against Carolina, 22 against Green Bay, 27 against Atlanta, 23 against Buffalo, 24 against the Giants. So in this previous matchup, 24 fantasy points. It was 59 total points in this game. Obviously, I don't think the Giants will be putting up that type of fight, especially with no Mike Glennon at QB. It's going to be a very ugly game. The possession will be in the Washington hands a lot of this game. So Taylor Heinicke could definitely have some opportunity at 5,400 to definitely, usurp, go next level, maybe 3x, 4x that price you're paying for. All right, let's move over to the running back position. Let's go all the way to the top. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, they still have something to play for. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor is the number one running back all year long. He was outstanding, and I have no problem paying up for him at 9,300. Indianapolis going up against a very poor Jacksonville run defense with something to play for. That's incentive as well. I like it. I have no problem with it. It's week 18. They're going to definitely try to solidify their spot, all right? And if it takes, the first half, they're going to obviously be using Jonathan Taylor. So he could do all his damage in one half. He's done that before already this season, all right? If we continue to go down, Alvin Kamara going up against a familiar foe in the Atlanta Falcons. Let's see how he did in the previous matchup. 20 fantasy points right there for 8,300. I'm hoping for a better performance. Maybe the distraction that Taysom Hill can open up some running lanes for Alvin Kamara. I'll definitely throw him in there. Let's continue to go down. Nick Chubb, we can stay away from them because they have no quarterback. They're not going to be, extending drives. That's horrible. I'm not really looking at Dalvin Cook this week. Najee Harris, it's always usage with him. This is the last game with Big Ben, so you do expect some check downs for him, which has been very consistent from all year long. So I have no problem with Najee Harris. Derrick Henry's on the IR. We got a gem right there. We'll get to that. David Montgomery is going to be a very solid option going up against Minnesota's run defense. This man is someone to look for definitely next year on a more consistent basis. But for Week 18, give me him again. All right. I've been doing videos on David Montgomery in back-to-back weeks. Look at the usage. 22 rushing attempts. The yardage wasn't there, but look, 2 touchdowns, chipped in with 2 receptions on 2 targets. The week prior to that, 21 rushing attempts, 45 yards, a touchdown with 7 receptions on 9 targets for 61 yards. Big upside. I like the way they use David Montgomery. We'll definitely go back there. All right, let's continue down and find some more gems. Rashad Penny is finally, adding up to his first round pick value. And look at these games against Detroit. 35 fantasy points with 2 TDs. Chicago, 22 fantasy points. A poor outing against the Rams. But the game before that against Houston, while he's getting this run right now, Chris Carson is probably done for his career with that neck injury. That is not something to have for a running back. Rashad Penny is looking like a very strong candidate for next season for this team or maybe another team. All right, Rashad Penny is going to be finishing on strong, and I love him at 6,500. I'm going to make sure I throw him in there so you guys can, stay in on him. We have some more gems for you below 6,500. We're going to continue down. We have James Conner with Chase Edmonds out. James Conner becomes an elite play the weeks with Chase Edmonds out. This is when James Conner was going off 40 fantasy points against San Francisco, 20 against Seattle, 19 against Chicago, 33 against the Rams. Okay, and those are very solid run defense. It doesn't matter for James Conner. The upside, the usage is there, and especially in the red zone, 16 touchdowns this season so far. With that Green Bay game, A.J. Dillon can be someone they can lean on if they don't, decide to just level off on Aaron Jones last week. A.J. Dillon came through with 22 fantasy points and 2 touchdowns. So we might see another performance out of him similar to that. Devin Singletary going up against the poor Jets run defense. He's a top tier play at 6K. Last week against against Atlanta, 23 rushing attempts, 110 yards, 2 TDs. So they finally running the ball. They're finally running the ball. All beginning of the season, all last year, they did not run the ball like this. It's very surprising to see a Buffalo Bills running back with over 20 carries. That's very impressive. I do like Devin Singletary. Next will be Elijah Mitchell. We like him because of the usage each and every week from 17, 13, 12, and 10. Over 20 rushing attempts. The opportunities are there. He's chipping in a receiving game. This is a poor man's David Montgomery right here for a little bit cheaper of a price. Definitely someone you can look at. Okay. We're not going DeAndre Swift. We can look at Ramondre Stevenson with the quad or hamstring problem with Damian Harris. Stevenson has been filling in. Came through against the Jacksonville Jaguars with 19 carries, 107 yards, and 2 TDs. The gift with that was the touchdowns. Obviously, he is getting carries. He needs you to definitely get in the end zone to really pay off at 5,900. He's someone to consider. Antonio Gibson is back. And like I said, we want to attack this Giants defense. I think Washington State can be very, very sneaky for Week 18. Something that no one's looking at, and they have stars. They got Antonio Gibson. They got Terry McLaurin. Taylor Heineke just needs to come through for you, and this is a perfect opportunity going up against the New York Giants defense. I'm hoping Antonio Gibson can finish strong to this end of the season. He had very, very high hopes, was very up and down, injured. So that is understandable, but we definitely like him for this week. Donta Foreman coming against his former team. He had a very good game against Miami. If they feed him the same way, this is going to be his last opportunity before Derrick Henry comes back. So I think he's going to, really put his foot forward. The last time he faced Houston, he only has 7 carries for 25 yards. I think that's going to be totally different in this game. I expect another type of performance like he did last week against Miami. So I love Donta Foreman at 5,700. Let's continue to go down. And we still got some gems here. Keyshawn Vaughn for Tampa Bay with no Giovanni Bernard, no Leonard Fournette. It's basically between Keyshawn Vaughn. He's going to get the most touches, and then Le'Veon Bell right behind him. If I'm choosing one or the other, I'm definitely going to go Keyshawn Vaughn. Has some very nice explosiveness. Good in the receiving game. Just needs to be a little more consistent with the hands. Last week, 8 carries, 31 yards, 2 receptions, 3 targets, and 14 receiving yards in that game. Had a touchdown the week prior, so there's some upside there. He can definitely take it to the house. In the screen game, he's very, very good. And then Samaje Perine with the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Cleveland Browns. He won some teams their title last year in that stretch run. I can see something very similar that he does this week as well, going up against the Cleveland Browns. I like Samaje P. Ryan. All right, and that's all running backs we're going to go through. I gave you a lot of gems. All in that 5K range. You could definitely save some salary right there and just scoop up 2 of those guys and then pay up at other spots. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. And we want to pair the wide receivers with the quarterbacks I already spoke about. Okay? Cooper Kupp, elite. There's nothing to say about him. We're just going to put him in there, okay? We already know this. We're going to stay away from Devonta Adams because I'm going to stay away from Green Bay. They already solidified the number 1 spot. There's nothing for them to play for. In that game, if you're going to look at wide receivers, you're going to have to look at secondary options. Equinemius St. Brown, Winfrey, all these type of no-name wide receivers on Green Bay. That's what you're going to have to look at if you really want to take that route. Dangerous because you really don't know, but that's the route you want to go to. DEEBO Samuel will be the next guy we're going to look at for San Francisco. This is a must-win game, and he's been being used in a myriad of ways in this offense. Receiving game, 3 for 6, 9 for 11, 4 for 5. But look at the rushing as well. 6 for 29 in the touchdown, 5 for 32, 7 for 19. They are really, really using DEEBO Samuel very impressively. A lot of hate at the beginning of the year. A lot of love for Brandon Ayuk, but DEEBO Samuel emerged as the number 1 in that offense. Jamar Chase is probably going to take a seat back. You're gonna same thing what I said about Green Bay. You're gonna have to do with Cincinnati. You're gonna have to look at the 3rd, 4th options at wide receiver if you need some salary savers down there. Okay, if you're looking at the Cincinnati 3rd and 4th wide receivers, it's ugly. So you're looking at Morgan, Mike Thomas. Oh, maybe Auden Tate because we know him. He's familiar, but currently he has to get cleared from COVID, so we're not 100% sure on that. Let's continue on, okay, guys? Let's find some other decent gems for you at the wide receiver position. We're going to continue now. Mike Evans is, like I said, it's a funnel. All right. Mike Evans is a great play. Him and Gronkowski are solidified in this offense. Stephon Diggs going up against the Jets defense. We already like Josh Allen. I have no problem going to that. Deontay Johnson should be out in this game. Let's see if we get it out. He's been activated. Because he was out and then now he's activated. It's been very back and forth, in particular for Deontay Johnson. So we can definitely go that route between him and Chase Claypool. We'll see if Big Ben goes out with a bang. We're not. We're not going. He's not going out with a bang. He's not. Let's be real. I really don't want to have to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers. Not with Big Ben as quarterback. It's ugly. Someone we can definitely look at is going to be between DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Metcalf had a huge week with 3 touchdowns against Detroit. You know how Russell Wilson likes to go back and forth with these guys. You could definitely take DK Metcalf, but what I want to lean on this week is going to be Tyler Lockett to have his big day right before Russell Wilson goes. So we're going to put Tyler Lockett in there. Some other wide receivers we're going to look at. Amon St. Brown has been elite in the past 5 weeks. 8 for 111, 9 for 91, 8 for 90, 8 for 73, 10. Oh my. I cannot wait to draft this man in fantasy. Absolutely outstanding. I love Amon St. Brown at 6,800. Jalen Waddle is a great play. Brandon Cooks is a great play. Terry McLaurin. I really want to take advantage of the 6K range of wide receiver. These matchups, the opportunity is there. Christian Kirk is the new number 1 in Arizona, so we can definitely lean on him. Last week, 6 for 9 for 79. The week prior to that, 7 for 9 for 48. And then against Detroit, had 9 for 12 for 94 and 8 TD. Consistency there. You just need him to get in the end zone. We got more gems with Michael Pittman, Darnell Mooney. You can't go wrong with any of these guys that I'm speaking about. KJ Osborne has emerged as the number 2 with Adam Thielen out. He has filled in very admirably with 14 fantasy points and 17 fantasy points in the past 2 weeks. Let's see if we can find some more gems. Marquez Callaway against Atlanta is a solid play. Gabe Davis right here at 4,900 with no Emmanuel Sanders. Gabe Davis is coming on strong. 11 fantasy points against New England, 15 against Tampa Bay, 25 against Carolina, and they had 3 for 40 against Atlanta. That was a little bit of downfall, but I think we could see some positive. Even with Josh Allen out, he's still going to be in there because he's technically the 4th wide receiver. And I think we're pretty comfortable with that at wide receiver. One more will be Jamison Crowder. With no Barrios, with no Braxton Barrios, Jamison Crowder will be the #1 wide receiver. Zach Wilson likes to throw to the slot guy anyway, and Jamison Crowder is going to be that guy. Let's move over to the tight ends. We're going to go all the way to the top. Make sure you save some salary for the tight end position because it's very top heavy. Mark Andrews has been very solid all year long. Absolutely outstanding. It doesn't matter the second string quarterback or the third string quarterback. He has been providing big fantasy numbers. You get George Kittle an opportunity in a very important game to win against the Rams. Hopefully he can bounce back from the 2 bad performances against Houston and Tennessee. Now going up against a familiar foe in the Rams. The last time they played, he had 16 fantasy points, so that's something to look forward to. Dawson Knox going up against the Jets, who are garbage against the tight end. Zach Ertz against Seattle is great. Pat Freiermuth has been very consistent as a rookie tight end. 5 for 6, 4 for 4. So you see Ben Roethlisberger just doing enough to dump off the ball. He's not really looking down the field. He's looking 2, 3, 4, 5 yards down the field to do a nice quick pass because that offensive line is horrible. Okay? Absolutely horrible. Let's see if we got some cheap tight ends for you. One guy that we're going to look at will be John Bates. With no Ricky Seals-Jones, John Bates has stepped in as the #1 tight end. So we got a little Washington football stack here with Taylor Heinicke, Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, and John Bates. Definitely do not want to bring it back with the New York Giant, but that's just something for you to be notified on. If you need a punt tight end, we got John Bates at 3K. All right? And those are going to be the options for Week 18. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please pay attention to all the news. Things can change at a moment's notice, especially on Sunday morning. New things come about. Pay attention, okay? Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out, guys.